What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you so much for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. I am Lindsay. Today, I am joined by the team over at Investor Scout. This is a database of over 32,000 investors that include investment preferences, contact information, and CRM functionality. It is on AppSumo right now, starting at $59 for a lifetime deal. Before we dive into the tool, though, I just want to tell y'all a few quick things. The first is that if you want to tell us a little bit about your use case, why you're interested in the tool, you can go ahead and do that in the chat room. The second thing is if you have any questions about the tool, the deal, how to get set up, go ahead and put those questions in the Q&A box down below this video. We do have a few people from the Investor Scout team here on standby, Link and Aaron, who are here to answer your questions as they come in. And the last thing is that there will be a replay of this available. So if you need to step out or if you just want to watch this later for any reason, you totally can. It'll be available later today. All right, that is enough of me. Hey, Matt, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you, Lizzie. So I can just run through a little demo of Investor Scout. And if you have any questions, anybody, then you can ask them in the chat and we'll help you.
Good. Have fun.
Sounds good. All right, let me show my screen. We practiced this. Okay.
You nailed it.
There we go. Okay, it's working. It's good? No, it's not. No, it is?
It is.
Okay. Got it. All right, so Investor Scout's really simple. Like Lizzie was saying, we got a database of over 32,000 investors. We actually added a bit more investors since that copy was generated, so it's about 37,000. Yeah, it's really simple. It's kind of like Google for investors, so it's a search engine designed just for like an investor database. You can really easily just come over to our investor database here. We have search filters, like you can filter for investors that have email addresses or phone numbers or office addresses. You can filter by location, like city, state, country. You can filter by like investment preferences. So like if they prefer to invest in the US versus China, industry preferences. So that would be like technology or what we call like IT services, or healthcare or software or all sorts of things with diversified. A fund type, so you could find venture capital funds versus larger private equity funds, depending on what you're raising money for, or even a startup studio. You can filter by stage preferences that they're interested in investing in. So some people may want to invest in a Series A or a very late stage company, or they want to invest in something really small that's a seed startup or early stage. You can filter by assets under management, so you can get a better look at or a better feel for how big and maybe dominant, or I want to say luxurious. What's a better word than luxurious? I don't know. Fancier fund, have like $1 billion in assets, or you could do like a more homegrown fund, which is under $25 million. You can filter by the minimum investment and maximum investment they want to make per check. And you can filter by firm names, job titles, the number of investors, and even genders of the investors. So we can just run through real quick here. Just let's do some standard San Francisco, Palo Alto, look for technology. So this will come up with a list of about 700 or 800 technology investors in San Francisco and Palo Alto. You can very easily add these to lists that you make. I'll get into how you make a list, but I've already have some on hand. We can go in here and we can just add Zach Willis to our California investors and fund list. Oh, I've already added these guys. Okay, so it doesn't let me add duplicate records, so I don't accidentally send the same investor the same email. So let's just go in here and make this easier. Let's do New York investors. Joe West, we add him to California. And then Shoma, we could do this one at a time. You can see more info about the investors here. You can see their contact information. Or we can do this in bulk, so I can actually save the entire page. And that'll take a little second to process. We can save 20 at a time or 50 at a time. And now if we want to make a new list, let's just say for New York investors, you just click one button, say New York investors, or whatever you want to name it. And from here, we can then just go add, let's say make this 50 now, add this page to New York investors. And so now we have the top 50 in this list, or in this page of search results going into our New York investors list. And if you wanted, the top 2,000 instead of top 50, you could just go next, say page again, next, say page again, next, say page again if you want. You can do all of what I just did also just for funds specifically. Each fund has a principal contact at the fund. So like in this case, Rich Horrigan, you could add him, or you could add the fund itself to a list. And you can also like do the bulk adding like I just showed, all the search filters and whatever you want. So now if we go in a list here, we can go to New York investors. You see that it has 50 contacts. You can see when it was last updated. And then you can see a list of all the investors, and you can even see like the type. So like if we put funds in here, it'll say fund. But yeah, we have Josh Kushner here apparently. And we can go in here and see more info about Joshua Kushner, his about info, headquarters, the big picture, financial details of what he would be investing, contact information, preferences, websites, etc. And then from here, you can either go through this list manually and email Alessandra Pule, and then remove them from the list, and then go to Max G and then send them an email and remove. Or you could actually just download this entire list to CSV with one click. It'll give you all of the important information you need, and you could plug that into like any mail merge system like Mixmax or Reply.io or Mailshake or anything like that. You just upload it, takes a few seconds, and you can send an email campaign with follow-ups to them really quickly. Then obviously you can search for investors in here. And that's basically it. If you're on the single code deal, then you can only make one list at a time. So what you could do is add all these investors to a list, hit your max, which I believe is, I think it's like 200 or 500 contacts for that single list. Link, who's in this Zoom call, he'll clarify in the chat what it is for just the startup plan, the one code plan. But you add that to the list, and if you wanted to add more, you could always just download and then clear, and then add another, download, clear, add another. If you wanted to make unlimited lists of up to 2,000 contacts per list, it's much easier. Then you could do that on the 2-code plan, and then you wouldn't have to go through like the clear, download. You could just make unlimited lists. And so from there, I covered all the main features of Investor Scout. I'd love to hear any questions if you have them.
Let's do it. Sumolings, if you have any questions that you want to drop in the Q&A box, now is the time. We do have some here. When will family offices be added?
So that'll be added soon. We're doing about a big like data set update about every quarter. So in about 3 months, we'll add like a whole new layer of data fields. Family offices have been pretty highly requested. So we'll work on that. And I wonder if we have some family offices here, but it should be in a matter of months that we'd have some of that. And then we're also working in that data set update too, and adding more fields. Like we want to get more specific tags for investors and funds as well.
Awesome. And I know Sumolings, yeah, in general, they love a roadmap. So can you tell me a little bit about what Sumolings have to look forward to, what you're looking forward to?
So one big thing is that we're on our roadmap is we're putting an email system into Investor Scout, so you don't have to like take all the data off platform and then plug it into a different service. You can just send out the bulk emails through our system, and they would still just run like personalized one-to-one emails. Like I mentioned, more specific tags and categorization. So like, for instance, like one of our tags here is like IT services, but we want to break that down into software and artificial intelligence and cryptocurrency and all sorts of different categories of IT services. So that'll get better too. And then obviously just better, more accurate data. So we should have support for more investors at more funds. And then with our email system, we've already kind of built this out, but just like a better email deliverability function. So like if you export data and send it out through something like Mailshake, you could be looking at 10 to 20% bounce rate. But if you send through the email system that we've already built out, then you can actually get down to around 6 to 8% bounce rate. So that's a big improvement there as well.
Excellent. All right. We have 2 more questions here. Sumo Lings, if you've got any, you can send them in. How often is the investor DB, I'm guessing that means database, updated?
Every quarter. And that's not to say that we don't manually update things every now and then when like errors become obvious or we notice something wrong. But we do like big widespread data set updates every quarter.
Great. This person is interested. They wonder about seeing the date of the last investment to make sure that investors are active. Is this something you have?
Right. That's something that's coming. So we're going to add past investments. So then you could just see like a list of like a timeline of what they last invested in, and then also be able to filter and search by companies they invested in. So if you're building the next Facebook, you could look up all the people that invested in Facebook, for example, and then go that way.
Awesome.
And that's on the roadmap, but we don't have that yet.
Great. So things to look forward to, Sumolings. Those are all of the questions that I have. So I just want to give everybody a minute more to make sure that they've gotten everything that they want to ask in here. Otherwise, we'll just call this short and sweet. I love it.
That sounds great.
Yeah, man, I do a lot of these. Do we need to worry about opt-in?
No, most of the time, investors appreciate like a cold email introduction, as long as you're not rude and spamming. Like if you're just sending out to every single investor and it's not relevant to them, it can be rude and they're not going to like that. But if you can send like a concise message, clearly saying what you're raising money for, why you think they're a good fit, you make it short and sweet, like this webinar, then the response is great. And most people that use Investor Scout actually use it without many relationships already with investors. So the nature of the product is for cold emailing. Investors haven't opted into this database, but they don't mind a relevant pitch. And in fact, they spend a lot of money hiring analysts to find investment opportunities. If you can give them an investment opportunity in their inbox and it's in their wheelhouse, they would appreciate it.
So I guess to that end, do we have average response rates / bounce rates, etc.? This person asks.
Yeah, so we have average bounce rates. That's 10 to 20%. And that depends on, obviously, that's like data set wide. So it depends on how many emails you send. Like you might send 25 emails and get 15 bounces. But statistical significance, it's what, like 200. So if you send out, at least a few hundred to a few thousand, you should be looking at max 20% bounce rate on that. Average open rate, it depends on a lot of factors that are out of our control. And we don't have access to that data because you send emails off platform. But if you have a really catchy subject line, you're sending emails from a domain that has a good reputation, so the emails aren't going into spam, then you should have no problem getting investors to open their emails.
All right, thank you so much. That's going to be it for us. Yay. So Sumolings, if you have not already, you can go to appsumo.com/investor-scout to redeem your codes. It is on AppSumo starting at $59 for a lifetime deal. And of course, this is backed by AppSumo's 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead, get set up, play around with it and see how it works for you. Once you have done that, please leave your reviews on the deal page. We love to read them. And of course, that's where you can leave your questions as well. Thank you so much, Matt and Link and Aaron, for hanging out with us today. And of course, to you, Sumolings, have a good one. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.